And so what we're looking at now, think about Gavin Newsom, Wes Moore, Beshear of Kentucky. Those are three guys talked about as much or more than anybody else. And the focus in the Democratic Party continues to be on the senators, on the governors rather than senators or anybody else. There's some others who do get talked about. But take those three governors. All three of them have controversies. Go in ChatGPT, put in get Governor Newsom controversy. You can read about some stuff. But there's a second category. There are things that won't come up in a search, but are widely discussed by political elites of both parties. I'm not going to talk about them today. Wouldn't be the right thing to do. But for almost any of these candidates, there's the category of things that, quote unquote, everybody who's in state capital in Kentucky or Sacramento or a state capital in Maryland, everybody knows, everybody talks about them. And then there's the third category. Nobody knows. And as I said before, sometimes even the candidate doesn't know. That's the category that not going to be engaged right now. You take J.D. Vance. If J.D. Vance runs and has a nomination fight, what will the controversies be? Sometimes they're about policy, but most policy controversies you can get through, right? Or J.D. Vance said a lot of bad things about Donald Trump, and a lot of those are known. I bet you there are more that have never come out. Will that matter, given that, he's already been reported to have said and acknowledged saying some pretty bad things about Donald Trump? But I think for Vance, the bigger danger would lie if he is the nominee in the general election. And how do I appraise his skills? I think he's going to have around him a team that knows the playbook, that has studied Clinton and Trump and others, and knows whether it's Trump's tactic of just saying the sky is not blue. It's a hoax to say the sky is blue, or it's the fake media saying the sky is blue, or to change the subject to something else. Bill Clinton, one of his most effective things is he would say, when they bring up things from his record in the past, he'd say, my opponents want this election to be about my yesterdays. I want it to be about your family's tomorrows. Pretty good line. But that was a line that illuminated and illustrated a larger tactic, which is whatever the controversy is, unless you killed somebody, you can always say as a candidate, more important to talk about the real lives of real people than controversies from my past, accused of being something done by your political opponents. Possible, but you got to be skillful at it. And as I said, there's something about Trump and Clinton that allowed them to do it. I get asked all the time by people, why can't others just copy it? Why can't you study it and copy it? And I say the same thing about giving a great speech. Trump and Clinton, in addition to being masters of Houdini-like escapes, they both could give really entertaining speeches. And I used to love watching other potential candidates, if they were at an event with Clinton or Trump, whether they were running against them or thinking about running for president in the future. I always loved watching them watch Clinton and Trump give speeches. And you could see them trying to process, what is it? What is it that they do? Like, why can't I do that? And the answer is, it's not something you can necessarily copy or learn or borrow. There's just something about their capacity to do that. And I think the capacity to escape from these politically perilous situations is even more inexplicable. It's even harder to understand how to borrow it, copy it, mirror it. So again, the folks who are thinking of running in 2028, some of them have run for big offices. A few, like Pete Buttigieg, or maybe Amy Klobuchar, they've run for president before. But no one who's running has gotten to that final part of the process where it's down, a nomination fight down to just a couple people, and where the pressure's really on and where the scrutiny comes. Buttigieg, another great example, ran for president, had some success. I guarantee you there's stuff, not just from his time in the last few years since he left office, where who knows exactly, what things he might have done, but his time as Secretary of Transportation, his time before that. And as I've talked to these campaigns in waiting, they're not formal campaigns yet. Generally, when I ask them about this stuff, not always, but often they'll say, well, what should we be doing? How should we be preparing? And of course, the answer is learn everything you need to know about the candidate's past. Be ready so you're not hit with something, out of the blue. But as I said, two problems with that. One is you don't know everything that's coming, because nobody does, even the candidate. And the candidate often knows and isn't saying or has suppressed it. But the other thing is you can't prepare for the need to be magical. You can't prepare for the need to be able to say, I got this, I'm going to change it. I can't tell you the number of people who thought Clinton was dead politically. The people around him in 1992, in 1997, around impeachment, people, grown adults in tears saying it's over. And same with Trump. And yet when they start to survive some of these things, when they walk through the hailfire of bullets, when they emerge on the other side, not just living, but stronger for having done the politically impossible, that's when the myth grows. That's when the staff is confident. And now, Team Trump, I guarantee you, there's nothing that could happen, nothing literally that could happen, where they would go back to what happened after Access Hollywood and some of these other things, saying, that's it, our guy's done. Our guy's a great political athlete, but he's done. I cannot name a thing. Of course, Trump's famous if I shot someone on Fifth Avenue. I cannot name a thing. And it's the same with Clinton back in the day. After a while, you get the joke. They've got a certain capacity that's ineffable that allows them to do this. I'd urge you, as you watch these candidates, prospective candidates, I'd urge you to think about, how do they deal with crises? Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania, who I was so high on, my sources and I agreed, he looked like he was the person to beat. He has not shown, quite the opposite, this capacity. He has shown an inability to address these things in a way that puts them to bed and allows them to move on. Personal controversies, personnel things, some issues things. So when you're evaluating prospective candidates, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, if you're thinking about J.D. Vance, if you're thinking about some of these Democrats, ask yourself the question, do they have what it takes? Some version, maybe not the magical Trump-Clinton version, but they have what it takes to survive. Listen up now. If you're 64 years or older, this is important. The Department of Justice recently sued 3 major Medicare brokers for claiming they were unbiased while allegedly pushing people into plans that got them the biggest kickbacks. It's true. So many insurance agents just can't be trusted, but you can't necessarily rely on government resources either. That's why I want you to know about something called Chapter. Chapter was started by people who went through this personally themselves after their own parents were pushed into the wrong Medicare plan by an agent more focused on commissions than on care. Chapter's mission is very simple: to give every American the honest, straightforward Medicare advice they deserve. And here's what makes them different. They're the only Medicare advisor that compares every plan across the country, not just a handful. That saves their clients an average of $1,100 per year. There's no reason not to call. It's quick, it's easy, and they can review your options in under 20 minutes. If you're already in the right plan, they'll tell you that. But if there's a better plan, they'll help you switch. This could be the most important call you make this year. Dial pound 250 and say Chapter Medicare to get peace of mind. Again, that's pound 250 and say Chapter Medicare.